I grew up in Orlando, so I'm a native. Fifth generation, actually more than that. My grandmother's name is Dade for Dade County. So family's been here. I'm in a true Florida cracker. I didn't really come out until literally like my last semester at Valencia. So, and that was only to my newspaper staff. It was 84, 85. Well, I went to a small Christian school called Dixie Village Christian Academy, and I played softball there, and I played soccer, and I played basketball. And being a small school, if you had any athletic ability, you played. So I pitched, and I played center, and I played goalie. So those were the things I did, and ran a little bit of track. So, and then in '85, I came down here to run the newspaper at FIU. And while I was doing that, I started finding out interesting places. I picked up a David magazine, and they were hiring. So I said, I can do some work there, and because they needed somebody who could do some typesetting. So that's how I ended up with David. A year later, had met one of the salespeople. We left and started Hotspots. So we had two things. We had Flamingo Lane, over on Broward Boulevard where the Walmart is now. And that was a 32-lane house. And that was the only bowling we had, and that was on Sundays. And so one of the things I started doing was making a newsletter and keeping the standings. And occasionally I would, when we'd have free space, I would put in the information into the either David or Hotspots, depending on the time. That helped build up the bowling a little bit. And I actually did the press for when we had the Worldwide Bowling Conference here. But it was the same type of idea. I used that to get interest in the softball, because we had an organization called Sunshine Athletics. And they were mostly tennis and not much else. And I couldn't get any help from them, so I'm like, all right, well, I have the connection. I'll just started using AOL chat rooms and started gathering up people that just wanted to go play. And we'd play anybody. We'd just find a field and go play. And 91 was when I had the first GQ team in Mills Pond playing against straight teams. So I went out and bought a bunch of green shirts. I bought some puff paint. I put GQ on them. That was for gays and queers. They didn't know what it was for. They just thought GQ could be man. I was always the advertiser, trying to use little entendres. I even bought green hats and did the same thing. And those things have all disappeared, but just the pictures of them. And then the next year, I can't remember how I met Jim, but Jim worked for the gentleman that had the house on Hillsborough Beach. He was willing to sponsor us, and that's when we became Florida Manatease in '92. And even that was an entendre, because Manatease was intentionally misspelled, man-a-tease. So, it was the whole trying to play a game thing. Part of what Jim and I did, and others of us that would start these teams as we got into SFAA, is we had to start teaching people how to play ball. Over the years, I've always been a very quick study on how to learn something and then teach it to other people. So then I was having to teach people how to throw a baseball, how to run the path, the rules of the game, how to bat. So there was a lot of that, and I took a lot of joy in seeing people improve. So that was part of it, because you had plenty of people that were too scared to admit any interest in sports, and we definitely had different skill levels. And so we got people, and eventually we got, by the end of the second year, and Jim ended up showing me the newsletter I had put out, and I had 41 players already listed. So we were at that point trying to find a second team, because there was no way we could get everybody to play. And then the next year, Ray died, and I had to step back and take care of Ray. And that was when they began SFAA.
So was Ray your partner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was with me. I met him at David, and we started hot spots together. So.
And he died from AIDS?
Yes. You come down to South Florida in the 80s, and all of a sudden the bubble is burst, because very shortly things start to change. And it was rough, you know. We lost a lot of people, you know. That's after he passed, and once we got to AZT, and then once they got to the other cocktails and found a more manageable way, we realized that there was a generation that was missing. And so we talk about the fact that, you know, we made it through. But you are missing people, a gap of 10 to 15 years. And that's why when you say, well, why is everybody 60 and there's nobody in their 40s here and there's nobody in their 50s? Well, it's kind of what happened. So we lost players. You know, and over the years, you know, once we got the league started, you know, especially in the last 10 years, but that's just because of aging. We've had, you know, a couple related to AIDS, but mostly it's been other things. So, you know, but the softball was like, well, this will be a way for people to get out and meet and do all, you know, and not just be in a gay bar. Eventually we realized, you know, you're going to need the gay bars as the sponsors. As the grew from 1 and 2 teams to 6 for SFAA to 25 to 30, you know, you reach a point that you don't even know all the people anymore. I go out there and I don't even know them because they're recruiting. The last recruitment, I think they had like 50 players out there just for the starting day, and it's like, you know, that took me 2 years to get. My husband, I met him 24 years ago. I had finished playing softball on a Sunday. It's always about softball. And Alibi was our sponsor at the time, which George will be here, and was in the sports bar and saw a cute guy there, and I offered to send him, buy him a beer from the bartender. And we've been together 24 years since. It's the game. The game is the fun part, you know. Everything else that leads up to it, all the politics, all the silliness, all the, you know, can and can'ts and all of that, you know. I enjoy the game. I enjoy people playing. I enjoy people winning, and people are going to lose. But as long as we have a good time, that's the important part, you know. And then when we have success, and we ended up having quite a lot of success, that's even better when you can go all the way through and win a tournament. It's actually really hard to not just win a season. It's also really hard to win a tournament, and then to win a major tournament. So we've had all of that too. So those are all interesting things, and they kind of just all roll together. But I really just want people to enjoy themselves, have fun, interact. You know, softball husbands became a thing. That wasn't part of the plan, but there's plenty of those relationships that occurred out there too. And it's nice looking back and seeing all those people that enjoyed each other and enjoyed the good times.